Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be back here with you all, and we'll be actually reviewing the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Oh, yes. You know what? I really miss Real Housewives of Atlanta. I've taken some notes. Okay, I've taken some notes, and I got a little bored with the show. I'm not even going to lie. When they decided that they was going to remove Kenya and leave Brit on the show, I just kind of felt like, yeah, it was a little, it put a little, I was feeling a little frustrated. I was feeling a little emotion because I grew up watching Kenya. Let's not, no mistake there. Shout out to our friends over on Instagram. We're broadcasting live from Instagram, Facebook, and also YouTube tonight. So listen here, I'm not going to hold y'all too long. So I do want to give my commentary. So let's just jump right into it. Brit and Phaedra has close friends. So what that lets me know is, and listen here, I got my popcorn together tonight. Yes, I got my popcorn ready tonight, baby. So I come to enjoy myself, and you should too. So just to let y'all know that Phaedra is very much so well connected in Atlanta. Let's not forget that she is an attorney, right? All right, so let's get into Phaedra hasn't hung out with she hasn't hung out with Charles in about 10 years. And Phaedra said that she's never known Charles to be married. So when we talk about can we let the big dogs out? Um when we talk about him not being married, for about, she's known him for 10 years. He's never been known to be married, right? Then Angela didn't speak with Charles for their anniversary, and Drew tries to like cover up for Angela. And I don't know if y'all know, but they're both from Chicago, so it's like a Chicago, you know, pact that they have with each other. And I just thought that that was a bit weird. I thought that it was very tasteful for Drew not to put her nose in Angela's business, because Drew has a lot going on. Drew is in between a divorce. Drew is also allegedly dating some guy named Block. We got Black. Some guy named Black, but we'll get to him in a minute. But yes. So day two. Hey Norris Tony, how are you doing, babe? So now we're on day two. So they're divided up in groups. So you have Phaedra, Shamia, Portia, and Cynthia. And then you have Britt, Angela, Kelly, and Drew. Now, um, I want to say this. So in a previous recording, you see Angela calling Britt, whore. And then also but Britt also had brought up Apollo as well. So Britt is out here making enemies with the girls, and like this is her first season. Like I don't know who she was watching on this show, and it kind of gives me that she was watching Kenya. And the way Kenya is very snappy, the way Kenya is definitely queen, but Kenya just didn't come in there walking and trying to own the place. Kenya, sat back, she watched, and she knew when to throw her punchlines in. Like Britt, you need to, it was too late, but you should have taken a step back. You should have really studied the housewives, what their culture is, what the behavior is, how you read, when it's appropriate to read. Like you should have done your homework. That's first. Um, and then Britt, she also mentioned that she don't feel supported. So I can see why she doesn't feel supported, because Britt comes in like she's Nicki Minaj or somebody, and somebody has to bow down to her, like drop the roses and you know, this, that, and the third. But let's not forget, just on this past episode, Brit and her husband did not have the money to pay for everybody to eat. Yep. So let's go ahead and get up into this. So as she's saying that she don't feel supported, Portia jumped in and said, "Well, you know what? No one knows you. You need to get to know us, and you feeling like you just the top notch around here is really not going to get you anywhere because all the other girls are navigating. They are meeting up. They are meeting with each other um, at each other's homes. They're they're working for their Bravo check. So while they're out sitting at the table, Brit was it Brit? I believe it was Brit that decided to bring up a little black piece of paper and ask Drew who was black. So pretty much who black is Drew's current new boyfriend, allegedly. They hang out, they flirt, they're friends, they're all of the above, they're lovers and friends. Okay. And with Drew, I don't totally agree and I totally don't disagree. Because I think Drew married a housewife, but that's for another segment. All right, so Phaedra calls Drew out for looking like Pebbles from the Flintstones. And I'm not even gonna lie to you. The way the people say, "Oh, we don't like Phaedra, we don't like Phaedra," this, that, and the third. Phaedra brings the heat. Phaedra, when she was in the car and stuff, she wanted to know, okay, what's going on? Who's got the drama? She needed to know where she could stand in at and where she could really get this pot going. And really, I want to say this. When Thank you so much, Boss Lady T, for becoming a member. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I want to say that Portia is that I mean Portia. Well, Portia and Phaedra, they're great additions to the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So, like I said, when Phaedra had come back, then here we are. What am I doing? Reviewing the live, reviewing the show. Shout out to Phaedra, Portia, Kenya. I know you're coming back soon, so congratulations for you too. Um, but let's get into this. I did enjoy Portia and Shamia's bonding. I felt like they were in a great space, and this is what we needed to see. Yes, of course, relationships will take a high or low. If we really look at the history of Bravo, even marriages are cleansing to stay together. You get what I'm saying? Speaking of that, speaking of marriages, the ladies are headed for a dinner and they're having dinner with the prime minister. So Angela is dressed all up. She got a red dress on and, she's feeling good. And it was such a disappointment because she just kept calling Charles and Charles and Charles. I mean, she was worse than Miss Netta. If you ask me, at least Miss Netta can get Charles on the phone in one phone call. Baby Angela was calling that man's phone, calling his phone. And I was just over here thinking when the phone was ringing, he's probably being entertained. He's probably watching a basketball game. Like, you have to check the seasons, you have to check the temperature. But when it comes to Angela, it really feels like you and Charles are not in a relationship. If that's how your husband treats you, to the young girls that are looking up to you, please tell them that this was not in the that's not in the, that wasn't in your path. You deserve a man that love you, acknowledge you, and respect you, and answer that phone for you, and to be lovey-dovey with you. Baby, I'm happy to see you. Baby, you're out, hours, and well, you're out of the country, so they're in Grenada. They're not just like on a camping trip like they were before. But anywho, I mean, this woman is out of the country. It's your 8th year anniversary, allegedly. Uh-huh. And remember, Angela had went to Wendy Williams, and she's like, "Girl, you just gotta stay." And Miss Wendy Williams said, "How you do it?" No, ma'am. And she didn't. And that's why she got divorced. But we see where you're coming from, Angela. So Charles finally answers the phone. And when I say finally, I'm not over exaggerating. Charles finally answers the phone, right? He's not interested in her, and he pretty much blows her off and tell her, uh, don't get into no scuffle with nobody, because it's like, okay, don't be out there fighting and arguing over this relationship, and you already know what it is. That's what I got from it. I don't know what y'all got from it, but what I got from Charles is, he was there was no affection, and she calls it being petty. Okay, no affection equals, oh, he's just being petty. I don't want my husband to be petty. No, thank you. Not interested. So Shamia expresses she's not forcing anybody to take a shot because Britt was running around the house trying to give her another moment, trying to stir up the pot one more time. Somebody gave her the spoon and she started stirring the pot. But this is what I want to say about Britt. You got to watch out for Britt. Britt is a gold digger. Britt is a gold digger, allegedly. Britt is definitely a gold digger. I feel like she's a gold digger. So let's get into this. So they get to the dinner, then they start talking about the donations because in Grenada they had a terrible storm, and this was for the girls to. Hi. Yes, you agree about Charles? Absolutely. I think Charles is just a prop for her for this season. A shout out to our friends and family, our royals on Instagram. Yes, you're tuning in. Yeah, he's definitely a prop for her this season. And you know what? When she tried, let's since we're gonna go there because we're streaming from like 4 platforms right now. But since we're gonna go there, let's get on the fact of their affection, their body language, and just I don't know. It was like he liked to critique her. Remember the first episode when he was like, "Your hair lifting up." You got to go to the bathroom. Your hair lifting up. You putting on this. Like he got upset because he felt like she's trying to be a part of the young women's club. And my thing is, would a man like that critiquing me? First of all, sugar pie, I still had it. Okay, 58 years old or not, allegedly. 58 years old or not. Listen, I'm going to be fabulous. And I'm going to go and get my tweaks. And I'm going to, go get my. Doesn't she look like Janet Jackson in the face? If you catch Angela Oakley at a right angle, she looks like Janet Jackson in the face. She definitely gives you that Janet Jackson nose. I don't know where she went, but she definitely said, "Give me the Janet." It's in certain clips. If y'all go back to the clips that were and this is no shade, y'all. Hey, clap, clap, clap if she looks like Janet Jackson. Clap if she looks like the Jacksons. How you doing? Okay. Listen, I'm just stating the obvious. Y'all were thinking it, but I had the guts to say it. Let's go ahead and move on. All right. So Shamia speaks on donations, Birkins, Rolls Royces. Was she wrong? Was she wrong? No, because Britt thought that she was going to come up in there with her Birkin, rolling up in her Rolls Royce, okay? And she came with a box, and the box wasn't even sealed. Like, girl, what you should have done was I would have put some candles in there, some heavy candles, like those $5 candles. If y'all ever go to Dollar General or Dollar Tree, I would say Dollar Tree. But I would have bought like some candles, of course, wrap them up so that they don't break. Stuff them in the box and tighten that box up. If that was all I had, and girl, that's what it is. And she would have asked me, "Oh, grow some goodies." I would have put some Kleenex up in there, not only some toiletries and things like that, but Britt was being very cheap. See, Britt has caviar taste, but she has like the 4 for $4 budget, whether she wants to admit it or not, because they didn't pay them people allegedly at that country club for that event they had scheduled there. Moving right along. All right, so the importance of donating to a great cause. So why does Shamia have to break it down to Britt what it was to be a heavy or a joyful tither or joyful gifter. It's like these people don't have what you have. You're going over here, you're wearing Fendi and all these designers and things like that. And, you're pressing around. But if we're going to come over there like that, let's come bearing gifts. And I appreciate Shamia for that. Because one thing that I can say about Shamia is definitely a girl's girl. And Shamia is like, her philanthropy is just, it's like she could be snooty because she's very wealthy. And I wouldn't say Shamia's rich. Shamia's wealthy. But yeah, I appreciate for her for giving back. That really touched my heart and made me feel good. So listen, y'all, we're still at the dinner with the Prime Minister, Sir Kelly. So Kelly tells Brit to show up for her. When people are out here trying to get snappy, show up. So Shamia says you brought paper towels. And so she's pretty much calling Brit out. Brit, you only brought paper towels. That was no secret. Then Shamia asked Brit to calm down. She's like, calm down because, first of all, we're in Grenada. We're at this fabulous dinner. We're about to meet the Prime Minister and a potential prospect for Brit. Oh, I'm sorry, allegedly. Moving right along. Brit missed the mark. She definitely missed the mark. Brit, you have to learn how to play the game. Sometimes sitting back and just kind of observing, maybe take a deep breath and then dive in. But when you coming at somebody, make it make sense, right? So you could be in the right and you could be calling them out. Stop always being in the wrong and trying to call somebody out. See, that's why I say you got to check the temperature, you've got to check the room, and you definitely have to pay attention. If I was going to tell you to do anything, I would have said surround yourself with any type of OG. Surround yourself with any type of OG, and that way you can have kind of like a leg up. Y'all might turn on each other, y'all might throw each other a little bit of shade, but I'd rather get in with the OGs. Hey, what's up? How you doing? Blah, 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 and just get familiar with them. So it's not what you do, it's how you do it. Anywho, Portia brings up Brit saying she's not being supported. So remember when I told y'all earlier in the broadcast, Brit was saying that she did not feel supported. I said Brit definitely did. The reason why she was not getting the support is because she had come in on the show feeling like she was Nene Leakes. She come in, like I said, I don't know what these girls see. They got Janet Jackson, and then they got Janet Jackson and Nicki Minaj on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Ain't that something? The two queens. Get into that. So there was a group chat. Portia didn't respond to Brit. So Brit got upset over, okay, well, Portia didn't respond to me because you want to be friends with Portia. You want to go hang out with Portia. Portia is a single woman. There is no reason why you should be getting upset because Portia ain't answer your call or answer your text. You a grown woman. Why didn't you pick up the phone and call her? See, it'd be them little kitty games. Nobody's there to kiss your butt except for Mike. Okay, so listen here. So at this time, they're all sitting at the table. Hey, my Instagram family, how are y'all doing? Hello, Facebook, YouTube. How are y'all doing? Listen here. So they're at the Prime, they're at Grenada, they're sitting at the table, all looking fabulous, all was dressed to the T. Listen here, Angela was dressed like she was Whitney Houston from the Waiting to Exhale. Baby, she was at that table looking like Whitney Houston from Waiting to Exhale, honey. Waiting to exhale, but she didn't have her man there. Let me put on a little bit of lipstick. I kind of feel like I need a little bit more lipstick. But wasn't she looking like Whitney Houston? And that's a compliment, because Whitney she didn't have like the French roll or corn roll, but she had her hair up. And I thought it was very classy for a woman her age. I felt like it was very classy for a woman her age. I thought it was she looked very demure, but she did look stressed. And we'll get to that in a minute. So the prime minister pulls up, you can, kind of see his interests and things like this. So, um, so he's arriving, he's pulling up and things like that. So the prime minister arrives, he comes, he sits at the table. When I say that the prime minister was looking delish, baby, dark skin, very clean, put together, showered up, smelling good, everything that the ladies would love. Okay. Drew was interested in him. She was cheesing from cheek to cheek. Portia, um, I want to say that Angela was giving him the eye too. You know what I'm saying? Angela isn't getting any attention, and it's her 8-year anniversary. And also, Phaedra's out there, doing her thing. I think she was giving him the eye a little bit too. So he has two children. One is 17. I could not, and nobody else heard how old the other child was because they were just, they were just like, and they were acting like they were in heat or something. You know what I'm saying? So Phaedra, of course, so this is on Phaedra. So she gets into the mix and she's over there. She's got her little say about it. So she says, Phaedra says, Timu Drew is not his type. So for the prime minister, Timu Drew, because I guess Drew had on a Timu dress. And she was like, no, that's not his type. But Portia is type. Portia is his type. And I can truly say from the bottom of my heart, Portia is his type. Portia knows how to dress. Well, first of all, she's a great mom, great wife, great entrepreneur, great philanthropist. And then when you talk about her, her history, the Hosea Williams, the foundation and things like that. So she comes from a rich history, you know. So so they get on a conversation about, they were like, well, I didn't see him with no ring on. And one of the ladies said, well, some men don't wear their ring. And Angela says, well, my man don't wear his. And why did Angela set herself up for that? Angela, I feel like you just set yourself up for the play. It was like Angela, nobody was even worried about Charles at that moment. But I think that Angela was so frustrated and so upset that it slipped out. I want to say that it slipped out for her. I don't think it was intentional. I think it very much so slipped out because she was sitting at the table. Everybody's having good, reminiscing about their, what they have going on. And Angela's over there on her 8th-year anniversary, allegedly. Mhm. All right, so let's get into it. So the ladies surprised Angela with the 8th-year anniversary cake, which I thought that was very sweet. It touched my heart. And I really felt like, if she didn't feel special about Charles, she definitely felt special about the ladies. And that's one thing that I love about the Real Housewives of Atlanta is like those girls, they can get into it up and down, but when it's time for them to come together, they really come together. And when I think about coming together, I think about Kenya, Portia, because I think Kenya, Portia, they had some grievances before, but when it had come to Breonna Taylor, all of those Real Housewives of Atlanta, they had come together, and that was an epic. That was a moment to write off in history. Like just seeing them come together and say, hey, I don't mind, protesting if I have to get locked up and be detained. I don't mind doing that for my black sister. And so when Portia did that, and also the other ladies, it made me look at Portia a different way because Hosea Williams was shining down and looking down on her and said, baby, I'm proud. Okay. Now let's get into it. He don't wear his ring. Angela out the county, out the country. Oh, okay. So Portia was like, he don't wear his ring. Angela out the country, and the Phantom Baby. So Portia was throwing major shade. Listen here, Portia got up the whole. Listen, they had just planted the tree, the oak leaf. Portia went over there and grabbed it up out the ground and just threw it. That's what Portia did. All right, so let's get into it. So they leave the dinner, and so they're riding on the way home. And Phaedra explains, if to Brit, like if you're gonna be that girl, you know, don't do nothing less than 1,000. Like don't do $50, don't do $100. Girl, bring 1,000. If that's the only thing you could do, girl, bring 1,000. I feel like that was great advice. And Phaedra also said Brit is sitting on ready collecting enemies for no reason. And see, that's how you get out of these franchises. Because the only thing the girls have to do is bundle up, come together. She just wasn't given it last year. And of course, I'm pretty sure Bravo's going to ask the ladies. And of course, at the reunion, how do you feel about this? And speaking about that reunion, Brit did not show up for that reunion. You want to know why? Because Brit told so many lies. Okay. So Phaedra was pretty much telling Brit to show yourself friendly. If how are people gonna like you want people to to support you and things like that and be able to fellowship and things like that, but you gotta be friendly, appear friendly. Shamia's husband calls and her daughter care took her daughter's health had taken a small hit, and she got emotional. They get back to the house. She ended up changing out of her clothes, get into her robe and things like that. And maybe you're right on time because I'm just wrapping up. And so, that was a moment. The ladies, they cried and things like that. Britt and Shamia had a moment. They were going back and forth, and Britt was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And I think that it was just the alcohol with Britt. I don't think Britt really felt those feelings that she was feeling. I think that with the inebriation and a few beverages, because she didn't do shots, but she did partake in beverages. So I think that was more of a Brit. Hey, how you doing? I'm enough. I think that was more of Brit, just kind of like trying to get a moment. So Brit apologized, hugged, and took her clothes off. When I tell you, they took one shot. They took one shot, y'all. They took one shot, and I don't know if it was one or two. Gerda Slash is trying to give me a problem. Okay, so they took shots and things like that. So next thing you know, Britt goes over to the kitchen. She took off her top and she smashed her tatas on the counter. And then she rose up and pulled everything else off. And it was on from there. But Portia said that, she definitely manicured up down there, looking good or whatever the case may be. But I just thought that this was a very interesting episode. And I will be covering the next episode. So you guys bear. Oh, today is Monday. I thought that I thought today was like Tuesday, y'all. Okay, I thought I was late. Okay, so yeah. It was very interesting. It was very interesting. So I want to thank you all so much for coming by for my review. Please make sure you come by again. And yes, I look forward to seeing you all. Please drop your comments in the chat. What did you think about the Real Housewives of Atlanta? And do you feel like Portia and Phaedra are going to take it up a notch? Do you feel like Angela is going to have a meltdown? Do you feel like Britt is going to be exposed? Her and Mike, I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.